So, welcome to Event Masters. This is the show where every single week we take you through a transformational journey from event producer to event master. And this may or may not be the last episode ever. So, let's get into it and I will explain why.
Welcome to the show, EventMASTERs. You need to listen to this if you want to throw bigger and better events. Learn how to monetize and land bigger racks. Yeah, this is where you can learn how to do that. EventMASTERs.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Event Masters. This is episode 30. We are 30 episodes deep. And the cool part is we're going no further. And I'm excited to explain why. But before we do so, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all social medias. Make sure you go at least like and follow us on the podcast and all streaming platforms, because we will be revisiting those and you'll hear why in the big end of this episode. But anyways, as you guys can see, just hanging out by myself today. All right, just me, myself, my black tee, and my superhero cape, a microphone, and some thoughts. So we're gonna ramble, okay? Probably. I'm sorry. I got some things I got to get out of my head and off my chest and explain to you guys why this is the last episode ever. Very interested in what's going on. I can't see who the user is, but you'll like it, I promise. But anyways, I feel a merger in the air. That would be an interesting concept. Anyways, look, so before I get into explaining what I mean by the title episode and everything, it's not clickbait by any means, guys. The show is today's the last episode. So I'm going to go out on a high note here and explain to you kind of my thought process behind it, why we're nuking the traditional sense of this show, and why it's important. And it starts with the third concept and the third principle of being an event master. This principle has been something I lived by, and you noticed a lot of event masters will live by it indirectly or directly. And I apply it to everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I apply this principle to literally everything I do. Whether or not it's events, whether or not it's marketing, whether or not it's sales, whether or not it's whatever, right? And the whole idea and the concept behind this principle is looking at what everybody else is doing and doing the opposite. Let's sink that in. Look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. The hell does he mean by that, right? Let me break that down. Let me explain. Looking at what everybody else is doing and doing the opposite sounds weird, right? Because success leaves clues. If everybody's doing it, it must work. Dylan, if everybody's doing it, it's got to work. Maybe to some extent. Okay, to some extent. But in a world where you have to stand out, it is impossible to stand out by fitting in. Okay? Let me say that again. It's impossible to stand out by fitting in. If you are doing what everybody else is doing, you cannot be looked at and perceived any differently. Right? I giggle at the folks who are like, I'm changing how conferences are done. And then they go get the same hotel venue, the same 7 speakers that speak at everything. They got the food court in the back with the turkey wraps that everybody has to and the brown bags. And then it's the same thing. It's the same cookie cutter concepts over and over and over and over and over and over again. Over again. Let me explain it again. Over again. Look at the landscape of events, no matter what world you're in. If you're a meeting planner, your whole world is literally the same. I don't know anybody who does anything innovative in that industry. But even in the festival and the concert world, even in the promoter world, even in the producer world or event producer world of concerts and series and in-person events and even nonprofit events and galas, look at them. Take a 30,000 point of view step back and go, wow, they all look the same. They have different names. They have different flyers. But when you break them down, it's all the same things. It's all the same concepts. It's all the same, literally enter in, here's your little booth, get your badge, go hang out with the networking group because we're going to have a group at this time. And then you're going to do some content sessions. And then we'll break out into breakout sessions. And then we'll do this, this, and this. And then everybody's doing it, right? And then you're asking yourself, why is no one seeing my stuff? Why does no one see me as different? Because you're not, right? And so the idea and the principle of looking at what everybody else is doing and doing the opposite is exactly how you stand out. When I approach how to throw a country concert or a country festival, which is the world I play in, right? I'm looking at everybody else and going, oh, wow, the same 7 openers are opening for everybody. Wow. There's a reason for that, yes. But about me, if I'm trying to stick out and stand out, I'm going to go, all right, I'm going to bring some new people. I'm going to bring in different people. My headliners are going to be not the same 6 names you see at every concert, right? In the speaker world, go back to the pop-up event we just did for EventMASTERS in August, right? I was catching flack because of the speakers, because they weren't known. And I'm like, these people outperform and are bigger event humans and professionals and know more than 99% of the people that you think you know. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want to bring on the same speakers I could have just gone with the most influential folks, influential, mega air quotes there, and said, look, just because you guys are everywhere, I'm going to leverage you on my event too. And I'm just going to project out the same vomit of regurgitated content that you guys put out at every single event. And I'm going to do nothing new just because I'm going to ride the wave. And it's because everybody else is doing it. It's got to be right for me. Wrong. You can't stand out doing it that way. So now that I'm off the soapbox and I can ramble on about that whole principle a lot longer, and today I won't bore you to death with it, because there's reasons of why I'm kind of hype on that and why the episode is titled the way it is. So with that being said, I was literally banging my head against the wall with the show. I don't know why. Just running in the head. I was like, God, just like the inspiration's not coming to me. And I'm like, eh. And I'm like, all right. So when I get like that, I take a step back and I go, all right, well, what is it? What is wrong with it? And I isolated it down to exactly this principle. We've been putting out this show every single week. We missed a couple. Sorry. We got lives. But we've been putting out the show. We put it on socials. We do the repurposed content, right? We put it on the podcast. Hopefully people download it. But you got to think, man, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of podcasts. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of event podcasts, right? And now some of the stuff we say is different. I approach things different. Wouldn't say I'm the normal human in the event professional world. But at the same time, we're just another event podcast. We're just another person on a microphone. Sometimes Patrick shows up. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes we have a guest. Sometimes we don't. So I started looking. I was like, I'm doing the same thing everybody else is doing. Who has a podcast? Right now, everyone's starting a community and a podcast and a show. Everyone's doing it. It's like, all right, well, everyone's doing it. How can I do it different, right? How can I just break the mold of what a traditional podcast looks like? So I'm not going to dive too deep into the project today because there's still details to work out and it's not time to launch it, okay? We have a very structured launch plan of this coming up. But we are going to flip the whole idea of the weekly show and podcast and how traditional audio content is put out. And we're going to flip the whole script. And you will see a giant project launched and announced in the next week or so, but launched and released in the middle of October. And it's going to be something this is going to be a fun project to do. It brings life back. I'm excited to do something that's new and different, really. And something that I think when you guys see how we approach it, how it is being done, and how we are thinking about this new variation on what a podcast could be, should be, would be, right? And what a show should be, could be, would be, and in a community, in a group should be, could be, would be. We're going to break the whole narrative. And we're going to go and it's going to tie exclusively into the world that we play in here at ViewStub with entertainment and sports and music and things like that. And I'm excited to roll it out because it lives this principle. It lives this philosophy of everyone's got a podcast and a show and a community. And I was finding ourselves venturing into that path of doing what other folks were doing. And it was becoming almost like a tuned routine. It was just like weird templated stuff and all this. I'm like, well, hold on. Like it's inevitably like the sheen is wearing off the whole EventMASTERS concept when you continue to do the same thing over and over again, right? So that's no more. The reason we're not doing the show anymore or weekly or anything like that is because we're switching the entire concept of audio format coming out. All right, like. It's going to be different. You guys have probably never seen podcasts or audio content put out this way. Actually, you have. And you'll see what I mean by that next week. But it's huge, people, and it goes back to one of the whole premise of this entire movement of Event Masters is the principles and philosophies behind it. And I just found myself in the show, and I was telling the team behind this that it felt like, and it feels like we were in a rut of doing what everybody else was doing. Because everybody else was doing it. And so I'm going to take a step back and live by one of the principles of an event master that says, look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. Or how can you make it different? How can you be different? If you're trying to stand out, you can't do it by fitting in. Who agrees? Anybody agree? Anybody out there in the wonderful world of Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube? No one watches our YouTube. Facebook groups. What's up, guys? I'm going to hang on for a couple minutes and hang out. For those of you who are here on the last weekly episode of Event Masters in its traditional format, because the audio and the show and the community are not going anywhere. We're just going bigger, better, and different. We're going to stand out by actually standing out. The black sheep principle. Totally agree. Yeah, exactly. It's the whole idea of being a red stormtrooper and a bunch of white stormtroopers. I'm trying to be the red stormtrooper, people, and that's I have an image of that. That's where it comes from. But it is the black sheep mentality. It's being different in a sense of, in a good way, but being different to stand out. And so, not only is it a principle that you should be applying to your events and your strategies and your marketing when it comes to events, like just because everyone thinks posting on social media and putting out flyers and this is how traditional folks do it, doesn't mean it's the right way or the best way or the way that you should do it. And if you want to stand out and make your event look different, you got to market it in a little bit different way. You see where I'm going with that? We want to get technical. We can get very practical and technical with it. I'm happy to answer questions the next couple minutes. If not, I'm going to go back and hanging out and going to work and get started on this epic project we have coming out in the middle of October. So, any of you guys sad about the ending of the show? Yes? No? Maybe so? Kelsey's probably not. She's probably excited. She doesn't have to hang out with me every Friday now. Patrick's definitely excited. Not that he's ever here. I hope he's watching. Is he watching? I am curious about October. I am sad. All of them's coming in as Facebook users, so I'm assuming one's Bo's, a couple other folks. But anyways, October is going to be the actual official release date. About middle October expected. The team will make the major announcement next week on what it is, how it's going to be, and all of that good stuff. So, with that being said, my friends, good things happening at ViewStub for those of you who are watching and tuning in and seeing that. For those of you who probably saw the announcements this week, we just closed on our 7-figure investment round, and that money is going to go a long way in our development and the growth and really doing exactly what I'm saying here and actually innovating the product in an environment where there's not a lot of innovation going on. It's a lot of imitation and doing what everybody else is doing because they feel like that's what they should do. We will be deploying the capital in ways to help us grow and scale and innovate the product in a way that actually advances the industry, not just imitates the competitors. See where we're going with that, friends? It's all playing full circle. It's all like coming together in 1 week, right? One principle applies to a lot of different things. See where we're going with that? See where we're going with that. So that is major news. Hope you guys saw the article. Please share, like, comment on the post and everywhere if you can. It's major news for us, and we're super excited about what that means for not only us and the team, but you guys. This product is yours at the end of the day, just owned and managed by the ViewStub team. So with that being said, it's an amazing thing for you guys. We have massive features. We haven't even gotten to spend the money yet, and massive features are coming to the software as well in the next coming weeks. Things like seat mapping, section mapping for in-person events. Right? If you're in the business of throwing in-person events, or you're a venue, sports venue, concert venue, whatever it is, or if you're a savvy event professional and understand how to use reserve seating and specific seating and priority seating as a way to earn extra income and revenue inside of your event, Seat mapping is coming to ViewStub, really trying to develop an end-to-end software for in-person and virtual events, and then the combination of the two through the app that's coming out and later on. I'm not even sure I'm supposed to say it, but I did it, so whatever. And then keeping it moving. We're even launching and rolling out some crazy on-site box office tools for you to sell tickets on site, as well as selling and managing all of your on-site revenue streams and data and systems and stuff like that. So that's going to be massive for those of you who throw events in the world that I do, or conferences or concerts or festivals and things like that. And you need a way to sell tickets at the door. You need a way to sell merchandise at your tables. You need a way to sell everything from beer to hot dogs to loaded tater tots at the concession. It's all going to be able to be powered and managed and run right through your ViewStub account, so you can manage all of your events revenue from one single source, all of your events data from one single source, all of your event distribution, whether it's in person and or virtual, is one single platform. So what we're saying is one platform is going to take over everything you need to run and manage your event. You like that? You like that? I'm giving way too much away. This is what happens when I don't have a co-host to shut me up or anything. So with that being said, my friends, look, principle number 3, and we will dive way more into the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 principles of the Event Masters. But today, number 3 is look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. And because of that principle, because I live by it, we're going to nuke this episode, nuke the entire idea of the traditional format this podcast and show has been on, and rolling out an entirely new concept next week, being launched and released in October. And we're excited. I hope you want to hear more, which means you have to just wait. The anticipation is not going to kill you. I promise. So with that being said, my friends, I'm going to get back to work. I'm sure Patrick is probably yelling at me or something. So with that being said, my friends, I hope you have a good weekend, and hope you guys are excited for the announcement next week. Hope you guys, if you're ViewStub customers, are excited about the features that are launching out, and excited about the ones that we have launched here recently. And with that being said, I'm done rambling, people. I'm out of here.